Hello, everyone, and welcome to Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast in all of the internet. My name is Matthew Stoner.
And my name is David Howe. How we doing, everybody? It's just the two of us today. How are you doing, Matt?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing, David? You look, you're in a different place.
Yeah. Apologies in advance for the change in my audio. I am in Mammoth Lakes, California right now for my brother's wedding. And we're at an Airbnb, and I found the quietest place, which is in the garage, to record right now. So
that confirms it. Love is real.
Love is real. It was a wonderful wedding. Congratulations to my brother all around.
Yeah, congratulations to your brother. Yeah, that's cool.
What are we doing today?
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a bit different today.
Yeah, we're doing something different. That's because it's Summer Game Fest / regular The Corpse of E3. David and I just wanted to get together to talk about what has happened so far. We had the Summer Games Fest presentation. We had a few other small Tribeca and Wholesome Direct, some smaller showcases, and then
Upload VR.
Yeah, Upload VR. And then just a few hours ago, the Xbox and Bethesda Xbox showcase just happened. And so we just wanted to talk about our impressions, talk about some of the games that we saw presented, and just give you a recap of what we like, what we're seeing.
Totally. Yeah. And just for any warriors out there, Patrick is alive. He's out in the middle of nowhere camping at the moment. So he's taking a break off this week, but we should be back next week with some regularly scheduled Super Switch Headz episodes for you. But we wanted to give you guys something this week, right? Don't ever let anyone tell you that we don't fucking hustle.
Yeah,
right?
That's right. We put out that content fast for you.
Yeah,
Don't you ever forget it.
Manscaped, if you're listening, we're open for ads.
We already got that but
Yeah. Hey, we're not supposed to talk about
shit.
that.
Okay.
I don't anyway, I'm the one who fucking brought it up. I apologize. But before we get into like the faux E3 reactions, just a couple rumors that have come up about the Nintendo Direct. I think the latest rumor comes from Alana Pierce when she was watching the Xbox showcase on her YouTube channel. Seemed to have some pretty insider information about it being on, I believe, the 29th, which is a Wednesday at the end of this month. And I think Andre from Game Explain also was able to corroborate some of that with his own sources. So that's kind of seeming like maybe when we'll get a Nintendo Direct, but who knows, man? I mean, I think these plans are probably in flux.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm looking at the quote from something she said during a stream. It says, let me check what day it is. I have it written down, the 29th. Yeah, June 29th.
Yeah, and everyone knows the person who would know the most about when a Nintendo Direct is an employee of Sony Santa Monica Studio.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Everyone's still guessing, but our hope remains nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, we try to be optimistic here on Super Switch Headz.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's jump into some of it. Yeah, I mean, what should we start with?
Let's start with Summer Game Fest.
Yeah,
maybe it opened up with Street Fighter 6.
Arguably one of the biggest reveals of the entire showcase. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big Street Fighter fan historically. I mean, I like the games, but I've never really been super into them. Tekken is more of my traditional fighting game for me personally. But this is looking pretty good to me. From other Street Fighter fans I've heard of, they're not super happy with the graphical style, but for me, it's really working, right? I think it's got a lot of color to it, and it looks a lot better than Street Fighter 5 anyway, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks yeah, I agree with all of the comments about the graphics, and it's running off the RE engine, kind of the engine that Resident Evil 8 or Resident Evil Village uses.
Capcom's new flagship engine.
That's it. That's the one. And not only is it just bringing back elements of 2D fighter / 2D-ish fighter, but there's some like single player elements too that had like a hub world or some single player experience that was brand new to the franchise.
Yeah, that looked kind of cool. It's kind of like over the shoulder, third person view as you're walking around. I think that's a pretty good sort of way to spice up a kind of tired fighting game formula at this point, right?
Yep.
I'd love to see something like that from a new Smash game,
Yeah, me too. I think hub worlds are so fun.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that was arguably one of the bigger things. I mean, admittedly, I'll say this right now. I was not able to watch this live. I kind of watched a recap of Summer Games Fest. But I know a couple other things that stuck out to me. I mean, Callisto Protocol is looking really good, right? That's one of like 8 Dead Space likes that they showed at this thing, right?
I'm trying to think. Callisto Protocol is a Dead Space like, but it's got similar like aliens and in space and very gray.
Yeah, very gray. I mean, that was like basically I'm watching this thing and I'm kind of like, man, this is kind of why I'm a Nintendo fan, right? It's like I'm kind of noticing in these like big Sony and Summer Games Fest and Xbox things, a lot of these big third party or the big AAA games kind of end up looking pretty similar when they're all trying to be hyper realistic, right?
Yeah.
It's like having that kind of more stylized stuff makes games look a little bit more interesting, I think.
Yeah, I kind of had the same reaction during most of Summer Game Fest and a little bit of the Bethesda too, which we'll get to in a bit. Is a lot of these games did like feel similar. So I was always trying to find the balance between like, is this a game I'm interested in, or is this a game that's not necessarily for me? Rather than just like trying to judge it from first reaction. But
totally.
Like Callisto Protocol, is that the name? Did I get that right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, okay. I think it's actually by one of the original directors of Dead Space, right? So
I see. Yeah. It's one of those a bunch of people left from other game studios. Dead Space is an EA game and started their own studio.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's hope. It looks fun. It looks cool. Looks
very dark.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't tell like it has some alien elements, but also like kind of this mystical sci-fi S to it. I don't know if you picked up that too.
Yeah. I definitely picked up on that. And again, I feel like there were just a ton of games that had that aesthetic, like a lot of space horror first-person games, right? In this presentation, I think maybe not including the Dead Space remake. I'm not sure if that was actually there or not, but I know Dead Space remake is coming out next year, so perfect time to release that game. But yeah, some other stuff that looked kind of good. What else was looking good to you in this Summer Games Fest?
I think what is it? Marvel Midnight Suns looks really fun. It's another tactical RPG based off the Midnight Suns short Marvel series. That looks fun. It's real stylized. We'll see if what Marvel does to kind of make things different in the tactical RPG game. Since
it's all black and gold, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like black, gold, and green.
Yeah. That's got some interesting, it's obviously like a tactical XCOM style game, but it's got sort of these like deck building card elements to it as well. So definitely a unique approach to that genre, and something unique within, excuse me, Marvel licensed games as well. I mean, I feel like they don't tend to skew towards the stylized. They're all kind of generally pretty samey. So this is looking pretty good. I think Fall Guys got another trailer. Just as a reminder, that's coming out, I think, the 21st on all platforms. And it's going to be free to play everywhere. And that's looking great. I'm excited to jump back into that game with like a bigger swath of players, with a little bit, easier to take on the go. That feels like a natural Switch game, right?
Yeah. And kind of on that aspect, just a side story, there's also the Sonic Direct also happened.
Oh, yeah.
And so Fall Guys. Fallout was a theater in Austin. Fall Guys has Sonic costumes, and they feature the Sonic and Knuckles and Tails costumes in Fall Guys in the Sonic Direct,
along with like Roblox Sonic content.
Yeah, exactly.
And, there's a little bit more sneak peek at Frontiers in that Sonic thing while we're talking about it. They showed off a little bit more of Sonic Origins and stuff like that. So that was kind of a fun presentation, if not a little. Everything they showed was like 1 second long, and it was like, here's a sneak peek, and it was like literally a peek. It's like,
yeah, we always joke about Nintendo spending a lot of time with Meledandre's son, but this was this was like Roblox 10 seconds, Pez 10 seconds.
Yeah, it was Pez.
Yeah.
Pretty silly.
Cuphead, the DLC, Delicious Last Course. Also, they showed some new footage for that, and this was something that was news to me. It's $8, $8 DLC, but you need the original game. So it's relatively cheap. And my understanding, it's bosses only, with a little bit of a hub world, but none of the
no run and gun.
No run and gun. That's exactly it. Yeah.
I mean, that's good. I mean, it feels like it feels pretty expensive for $8, right? I mean, even like the best stuff in Cuphead anyway was the boss battles, right?
Exactly.
So
yep.
I don't think that's a huge deal, and obviously it's gorgeous and seems like they really put a lot of work into it. So I'll definitely be picking this one up, even if I never finish the main game, just to have like a new character, and it kind of has a bit of an easy mode too, right? To make it a little bit more approachable, and I think that applies to the full base game too, right? So that's kind of exciting. Shredder's Revenge got a date. I think that was in Summer Games Fest. Am I correct on that?
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah.
They announced a couple things about that. So they announced the release date, July 24th, and 6 players.
6 players online is pretty cool. And that's coming to Game Pass day one, right?
Yeah, that was also huge news. It's wild.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll notice there's not going to be a ton of Nintendo announcements here on this special episode today, but I mean, that's great. I think I wasn't personally going to pick up this game. I think you guys know how I feel at this point about beat 'em ups. And I'm trying to be really respectful, Matt, because I know you take issue with this. I know, I'm just kidding.
I'm not the arbiter of beat 'em up.
Yeah.
I just like them. Yeah.
Well, I think this will get me to play it, right? Although I said the same thing about Streets of Rage 4, and I never played that either, even though that was on Game Pass. But I think this seems like a game that a lot of people are really excited for, and I think playing with 6 people in like a Discord room or whatever would be really fun. Do you know actually if they said if there's going to be cross-platform online play?
I'm not sure.
I kind of would doubt it, right?
I would also doubt that too. Yeah.
Well, if you're listening to this, get it on Xbox so we can all take it.
I think we were talking about that on Discord. Several people are like, what is everyone doing? And everyone's like, I don't know. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So probably everyone will likely get it on Switch, which is fine.
We'll see. Any other Summer Games Fest announcements that you found interesting?
Last one I got is Gotham Knights.
Gotham Knights
continues to look fun. They did some more footage from Nightwing. I think what they're doing with that, it's got co-op, right? It's online co-op, like Arkham plays and looks similar to Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. So that'll be fun online.
Yeah, a lot of different people all playing at once. That sounds like a good time for sure.
What about you? Anything else from Game Fest?
That's kind of all that stood out for me, and like the kind of watching through what had already been announced sort of situation. I think from what I've heard from a lot of people, this was a bit of a drab presentation, to be honest. Jeff Keighley actually even put out a tweet beforehand being like, don't set your expectations too high, after months of hyping this fucking thing up. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay. I think apologies to all the people that bought IMAX tickets to it, but it's probably pretty boring. But yeah, I don't know. It's certainly, in terms of E3 hype and kind of riding that wave, we're still doing an episode on it here, but it's definitely some of that magic is gone when it's not all consolidated. Yeah. But anyway, there'll be more of that. I will say before we move on, there was also Netflix Geek Tweet this week. Which was right. kind of part of Summer Games Fest. Jeff Keighley was there on Friday, announcing a lot of stuff. One of the things he announced, by the way, was a teaser for the new Castlevania series, Castlevania Nocturne, which we can finally say the name of.
Finally.
Pretty exciting. That's going to be a really good show. So we got some of that. And then something else from Netflix Geek Week that I wanted to bring up. Excuse me. Other than the Cyberpunk anime, which is still happening from Studio Trigger, which is looking great. There is a new game from the creator of Downwell that is included in Netflix games. And I've always thought Netflix gaming was kind of lame, right? Because it's all mobile games. But then as soon as they were like, we have a new game from the creator of Downwell, I was like, hell yeah. And I downloaded it. It's called But anyway, maybe we can move on. Did you catch any of the Wholesome Games Direct?
Yeah, it's just one game I wanted to shout out. Wholesome, they showed many games. They showed a little.
It was an hour and a half long or something.
It was long. But I wanted to talk about the one more thing that they showed right at the end. It's called Melatonin. It's a stylized. It's kind of got this pink aesthetic to it, and it's basically like a WarioWare like rhythm game.
Okay, well,
So
I gotta correct you. I gotta correct you right there, Matt. I apologize, but
please.
a WarioWare type rhythm game is just Rhythm Heaven.
Okay, well, it's like Rhythm Heaven, but
There
it's
we
a
go.
WarioWare rhythm game.
You
How
got to
about
show
that?
this franchise some respect.
Yeah, sorry, Rhythm Heaven. It's not a
was
beat 'em
fucking
up. I don't care.
That's all Matt plays.
Yeah, Streets of Rage 1 and 2. That's it.
No, but it looks beautiful, right? And it looks like it's cool to see a game that takes that Rhythm Heaven WarioWare style of like really fast, tiny games all in a row and kind of apply them to something that's not just total batshit insanity. You know what I mean? Like those games are all like very psychedelic and trippy, and this seems that way as well, but like very much confined within its one style.
Yeah, I think the tagline is a rhythm game about dreams. So still got the trippy part.
Yeah,
but a little more grounded in some of its ridiculousness.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't have a chance to watch this, but I skimmed through it and kind of checked out some of it, and it definitely seems like it's a nice like indie alternative because you tend to find during this time of year they're going to be showcasing all the AAA games that they've been working on for like 3, 4, or 5 years, right? And like give them their time in the sun. So it's nice to see a whole presentation that's kind of dedicated to the stuff that's off the beaten path a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What they're doing at the Wholesome Direct, and all those guys, we met them in at
PAX
San Antonio. Yeah, PAX South,
Yeah.
RIP. They're cool, great. Follow them, Wholesome Direct.
Yeah, I'd love to get them on the show sometime.
Yeah, most definitely. I think that brings up the next showcase, which is the Xbox and Bethesda game showcase.
Mm-hmm. What before we get into specific games, what was your overall take from this? This happened. We're recording this on a Sunday, so it happened just a few hours ago for us. How'd you feel about this?
I feel the same way I feel about all the Summer Game Fest and Wholesome and everything else. Everything's spread too thin, and so it's really hard to capture like what rises to the top. And so I feel like there's so many games, and I'm overwhelmed with the amount of content sometimes. And so trying to decide which is the better Dead Space shooter versus the other ones, or which is the better DLC for Forza,
Right.
or new vehicles on Flight Simulator.
Right.
It feels really spread thin.
Mhm.
And so my hype is like a roller coaster during
Like
this whole
butter
thing.
over too much toast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which
I think
is
that's the line.
yeah. You can never have too much butter, but yes, you can.
You can. If my breakfast this morning was any indication. Anyway, you don't have to get into that. But yeah.
What do you think?
I liked it. I thought it was pretty exciting. I mean, I thought, we'll get to it in a second, but Starfield, they showed a lot of Starfield at the end. And it was really nice, especially given that it's been delayed now a couple times. It was nice to get like an actual gameplay look at this game, right? I think it's kind of the first time we've really seen like in-engine gameplay, right? And I think it's looking really good, and it's kind of like making me remember what I love so much about like Fallout and Elder Scrolls games, right? So I'm definitely excited for that. And I thought altogether it went pretty snappy, right? Like they didn't spend a ton of time talking in between stuff. It was just kind of trailer. They were really trying to show a lot of gameplay this go around, which I think they did a good job of. But yeah, I mean, some interesting ones here. I mean, Redfall, got to give them a shout out because Arcane Austin, some homies here in Austin, Texas, making Redfall. Looks okay. Favorite thing about this game is the font of the title so far. but you excited for this?
Yeah, this feels like it could be really fun to play. It
fill that Left 4 Dead hole, maybe.
Yeah, it looks and plays like an Arcane game, like a Dishonored, plus the PvE elements of Left 4 Dead.
Mm-hmm. Hollow Knight Silksong got revealed at an Xbox show, which I don't think anybody expected, except for all of us that read the leak the day before this thing happened, which I think was 100% correct, right? I think that was a real leak. But Silksong is looking amazing, and it's coming to Game Pass day one, which is interesting. We had talked about this last episode about how Silksong like had an exclusivity deal with Nintendo, but it might have lapsed because they've taken too long to actually release the game. That was my theory, right? It was like, yes, you'll have exclusivity between December 2020 and December 2021 or something like that, and that's long since passed. So now they're like free to put it wherever they want. That's my theory. I don't know if that's true, but it's nice to see it coming to Game Pass, right?
Yeah, I think that's wild. I think the bigger question is like, this is what Microsoft's doing. They're probably paying out money to get this on Game Pass, and they're trying to appeal to all types of gamers with Game Pass. And we'll talk about the other things that came later in the showcase. But I think this is a big move for Microsoft, and it really kind of shows how Microsoft was playing their cards in the industry.
For sure. I might have missed it, but I'm trying to look it up. I didn't see a release date on this. Did you?
Nope.
Yeah. So fucking it could be 2024 for all we know, man. I don't know.
Next showcase, 2023 sports story.
Yeah. All the spam in the chat will be Silk Song in 2024. There's some other cool stuff. We don't have to go through everything here. There was, a game from the creator of Rick and Morty that looked pretty fun, where it's a first-person shooter where the guns talk to you, called High on Life. That looked kind of fun. Looks like Riot Games is teaming up with Game Pass and bringing a lot of their stuff to Game Pass PC, right?
Yep. Yeah, they're... I'm not sure. I don't follow Riot Games too much, but my understanding is you get some of the features the character unlocks.
Right. So it's basically because a lot of their games are free anyway, and then it's all about microtransactions. So it's like Game Pass is kind of taking that element out of it, I suppose. So that's kind of cool. What else was looking good to you here?
We got a little bit of a Flight Simulator. What is it? They say the 20th anniversary?
40th anniversary.
40. Oh my God. It's double that. That was Time Warp. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I am not telling you. Don't try to steal my online identity.
This had like classic planes and helicopters and gliders in like an expansion, which is kind of cool. And then Matt, I'm sure you were very excited to see the dropship from Halo make an appearance.
Oh yeah, I was sitting right next to my partner, and I said, "Look, a pelican."
And she's like, "Where?"
Yeah, she's like, "What? What's that?" I was like, "A ship from Halo."
It's going to be a little weird to drive a ship from Halo around like Manhattan,
I know.
or Giza or something. But that was kind of cool to see. Kind of scrolling through some other stuff that looked kind of cool here.
Just on the concept of Flight Simulator, I wonder how long Microsoft is planning to support it, because it looks like an expansive world. They're slowly building out cities by cities and adding a bunch of new vehicles, and it feels like they could continue to support it for a long time.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that you're going to see that a lot, especially from Microsoft, as they're trying to get people subscribed to their service, is that they're now in the business of putting out games that can be their own platforms, these great games as a service. Flight Simulator is not Flight Simulator 9 or Flight Simulator 2020. It's Flight Simulator. Like the new Forza Motorsport is not Forza Motorsport 5. It's Forza Motorsport, just Forza Motorsport, right?
Oh
so
my
it's
God.
So like from now on, I feel like they're just going to be increasing content, maybe doing graphics overhauls over time or something like that. But I would expect that going forward, even with Halo Infinite. I think that we'll see maybe even campaign expansions to that eventually, right? Instead of releasing a new game. And speaking of Forza, one of the games that I thought actually looked pretty good was a kind of an expansion to Forza Horizon 5 with Hot Wheels tracks.
Oh, yeah, that looks so fun. Of course,
that looks so fun. Yeah, I thought that looked amazing. It kind of turns Forza Horizon 5 into like Trackmania or something like that, right? Like this not very realistic but super fun kind of loop-de-loops and shit like that. So that definitely got my eye. I haven't played the game in a while, but that might get me to pick it back up and maybe download that expansion.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I haven't played Forza, and I don't like driving simulation games, but I love arcade style driving games. So, cruising is fun, or like the Burnout series, Need for Speed are all really fun for me. And this, like this type of game, arcade style, would get me to play Forza.
Yeah. Also, I will say, man, if you haven't given Forza Horizon 5 a try yet, try it out. It's pretty. It's
take it for a drive, test drive.
Oh yeah. It's not as much simulation as just like playground, right? So it's definitely more arcadey than like motorsport, right?
Okay.
I would, if you still haven't tried it out yet, it's definitely worth playing, even if you don't like racing games, because it's kind of like open world, right? Um, what else happened? Vin Diesel rode a dinosaur. We don't have to talk about that. Scorn is looking cool. What do you think about that?
Which one was Scorn?
Scorn is like the H.R. Giger art style one.
I think
maybe you walked away for a piss at this point.
That's what I say. I walked away for a piss.
Yeah. But it's looking cool. If you like kind of the style of like Alien or Aliens, like that kind of HR, really gothic, like almost like weirdly sexual, like organic horror aesthetic. This seems to be like in that style, and it's got this really cool look to it that not really huge on this style of game, but this one is definitely, I mean, that's the great thing about a Microsoft Showcase is like, if you're subscribed to Game Pass, it's like, cool, yeah, I'll try that out at least for a day and see if I like it. And then maybe it's my new favorite game. Probably not, but maybe.
It could be.
Anything else look good to you here? As you're kind of...
You want to talk about our first reactions to As Dusk Falls?
Yeah. That was a game that is kind of like a cinematic game. I think this was at the Tribeca Showcase as well.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was just at the film festival. Maybe is where it was. But yeah, this is kind of like a motion comic style to it. It's like a narrative based game. I don't want to trash on motion comic style too much because a lot of people at my job do that. But it's like in video games, it always kind of like doesn't really work for me. I think it's like really detailed drawings and then like changing poses and like kind of doing these like fades between them. And like what looked to me like a very like interesting concept for a game. I kind of wasn't big on that style personally, but what did you think about it, man?
I had the same reaction. I can't think of many games that kind of use this art style where they shift between poses and there's no frames between some of the characters' poses. But I am interested to try this game simply because I love Quantic Dreams type games. Fahrenheit and Heavy Rain, and kind of a choose your own adventure narrative game. I love those types. And later in As Dusk Falls, they kind of show the branching decision paths.
Yeah, and it looks like it's a real undertaking, and it's not like they were lazy in picking this style because it seems like they put a lot of work into it, and it's like really stylized in a way where it's like this was a decision early on, right? And so they've committed to it. So it just kind of comes down to like how it's going to play out, like while actually playing the game, because you see this a lot in like cinematics for games when they can't like necessarily afford like a fully animated thing, or they don't have the time to animate 2D animate something or even 3D animate something. They'll do like a lot of these like kind of pose things like as you're flipping through like to start a game out or something like that. But I don't know if I could sustain a full game like that for me. But.
Yeah, I remember having a similar response when I saw a trailer for A Scanner Darkly, kind of at the rotoscope movie. I was like, I don't know, this feels weird. And then 10 minutes into it, I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, or like Waking Life. I'm a huge fan of that.
Waking Life, yeah, that too.
Yeah, it's definitely an acquired taste. And that might be the case here, right? So this is definitely one I'm going to start and try out and see if the kind of the characterization and the drama like catches me in and kind of makes me forget about some of that stuff. Or maybe I'll just learn to love the style, but it's definitely an odd thing to look at. With some other styles, there's a game called Pentiment that looks really good. Looks kind of like Monty Python, like old, like middle-age kind of drawing style and its animation. This looks pretty cool, right?
Yeah, I like that. Love that. That looks really fun to play.
So I guess they showed off Diablo 4, which might be the kind of first gameplay look at this game. Blizzard seems to always be going through controversy, but it's definitely going through controversy right now with Diablo Immortal, which is kind of its mobile outing, which is very, very pay to win, and people are really upset about it. But are you a Diablo fan? Are you like a loot gamer?
I play Diablo just for the multiplayer aspects.
Right.
It's really fun to play dungeon crawl and find the loot. And then like power up, min max some of your characters. I actually like playing necromancy or necromancer type characters who are like warlocks or sorcerers. So they introduced a new character who happened to be a necromancer. So that actually got me excited to play Diablo 4.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. We saw lots of Activision Blizzard games during this presentation, but Microsoft didn't say that they're part of the Xbox family because the acquisition hasn't been.
It's not even really done yet.
Yeah, it's not done yet. It has FTC hasn't approved it yet, but we're seeing a lot of these games to associate it with the Microsoft brand, but it's not yet final.
Yeah, interesting thing about that is like they released kind of a graphic at the end which showed all the games from the presentation that were coming out, and then it had like a little tag for which ones were coming to Game Pass, and the new Call of Duty is not even coming to Game Pass, right? Like Modern Warfare 2. So it's like they're definitely like not promising anything until they've spent the $70 billion. Right? They're like we're not gonna fucking just put you on Game Pass for free, like so that was kind of an interesting part of it. I thought Cocoon looked really good. That was kind of that's a game from the creator of Limbo and Inside.
That's right.
And it's got a very different aesthetic. It's not a 2D side-scrolling game, but it's more like a top-down sort of puzzle game. So I don't know if it's by the same studio, but it's by like I think the kind of director or creator of those two games. But that was looking gorgeous, and it looks like anything that guy makes, I'm gonna play, right? So yeah, I'm definitely excited for that, and I imagine that's gonna go multi-platform, even though it is coming out as a day one Game Pass title.
What we were talking about this on Discord. How about the Aragorn, Aragon?
Yeah, let's see. No, Erebon Shadow Legacy.
Okay,
which is not the same as Raid Shadow Legends, but has a very similar name. Yeah, I mean, this looks good. I think it's Raw Fury is putting this one out. And they've done a lot of really great games that are similar in in action, but this looks like it's got a lot of like stealth mechanics, and this one looks pretty fun to me for sure.
Just look fun.
Yeah. Getting kind of closer to the end here. I think one of the biggest announcements here was Phil Spencer comes out, and they were just talking about a game they're doing with Koei Tecmo called what is it? Wo Long Fallen Dynasty. Again, you really just don't need to have a semicolon and then like Fallen Kingdom, Fallen Dynasty, Eternal Suffering, whatever. We don't need a subtitle. Just call your game whatever. But anyway, so he's talking about how with Koei Tecmo and Ninja Theory, they're trying to have more relationships with Japanese developers. And he goes, and in addition to that, we've been talking to our friends at Atlas. And then this was kind of like pretty much the biggest bombshell for me of this entire presentation was Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5 Royal are all coming to Game Pass, which is pretty amazing, right? I think like it also like makes me wonder if they are coming to Switch, right?
Right.
Yeah, but it's nice to see the Persona games finally leave PlayStation jail.
That's what we call it. Yeah. Yeah. Microsoft is doing wild things with their billions of dollars of money. They're going all in on the game industry. Like they've already spent so much money. I saw a tweet from Satya, the CEO of Microsoft. And this Persona announcement, I was curious what people are saying on Twitter. And it was like, yeah, they talked about Xbox's announcements. And I was like, wow, that's wild.
Yeah. It's really nice to see. I think like it'll give a lot more people exposure to the series that didn't have it before, and then hopefully this kind of further increases the kind of Japanese presence on Xbox. Right? I mean, Xbox still is not a massive seller in Japan, but it is creeping up. The new consoles are doing better than the Xbox One or the 360 ever did, and so it's nice to see that. And I'd love to see more stuff other than just like this and Scarlet Nexus and stuff like that come to Xbox, because there's just so many talented developers out there. They don't all have to go to PlayStation and Switch.
Also, part of the Persona announcements right after that, they introduced Hideo Kojima comes out and talks about his new game. He's building a brand new game. He's using, Microsoft Azure, their cloud computing. Don't know what it is. We don't see footage, but we just see Hideo just come and talk about the game he's making, which is wild.
Again, another kind of blow to Sony from Microsoft on like a big Japanese developer here. Because, I mean, Death Stranding was a PlayStation exclusive before it went to PC, right?
That's right.
And I don't think it has come to Xbox if I'm not mistaken. I think
I
it's
don't think
still
so.
just PlayStation and PC.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is cool. I'll play anything that Hideo Kojima makes, which I haven't played Death Stranding yet, but I'm working my way up. I'm about to play some Metal Gear Solid 4 when I get back from this trip. But yeah, I've heard it's like a horror game potentially, something like that. So it'll be cool to see how that turns out, and if we can kind of get some of that PT vibe in there, right?
Yeah. If it's a Hideo Kojima game, then we're gonna see military, paranormal, guns, maybe like Death from Death Stranding. Maybe we'll deliver some packages.
Maybe some mullets,
Yeah, yeah, let's go.
some headbands.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get David Hayter back as the voice of Solid Snake.
Yeah, no, he's dead to Kojima for some reason. He must have made fun of him at a party or something.
Oh no.
Maybe we'll get a cameo from Nicholas Winding Refn in this. Who knows?
Starfield.
Yeah, that's right. What the internet has dubbed No Man's Skyrim, which I think is a pretty good name for it. Because this certainly looks like No Man's Sky, but is an actual game. Right. It's looking pretty great to me. I said at the top that this is kind of reminding me of what I loved about Bethesda Softworks games. And yeah, it definitely looks like them taking their time was worth it on this game. Are you excited for this?
Yeah. I don't know. I was watching. I was like, can I go there? Can I like fly there?
Yeah.
Like, how does this play? How does it work? I was trying to imagine. I have so many memories wrapped up in Morrowind or Skyrim. It's all like fantasy based. So trying to translate that kind of gameplay loop into like a sci-fi space sim, it was kind of weirding me out. Kind of had to get past some of the first person shooter elements, but it looks fucking great. It looks super fun and big.
It looks more Fallout than Skyrim, right? Like, especially when it goes to the, I mean, Skyrim has this too, and Elder Scrolls, I don't know, just mean Skyrim, but it's got the kind of like factions that kind of like went through a bunch of different factions that you can join. Yep. And that was giving me like big time Fallout vibes. And just kind of an idea that you can really craft the story into whatever it is that you want. Looks really promising. I think it seems like there's a lot of different systems to explore and tons of different planets, which I'm sure have some degree of procedural generation in them, right? If you can explore an entire planet. But it's good that it's like a set number, right? So you're not just going to see like the same looping styles over and over again. Maybe, who knows? All right, this game's not out yet, but a little bummed that it's like clearly made. I mean, the game is looking really good, like graphically, but you could really tell when the characters are speaking that like, oh, this is just the creation engine. Is that what it's called? I think
that sounds right. Yeah. It's like the camera's locked on the character. They kind of move.
Like, there'll be like some text trees you can choose from or whatever, right? Yeah. I mean, they definitely look more emotive than older Bethesda games. You know, they're starting to get better in Fallout 4, and this is definitely looking like a next step, but we'll see. My money is on this being a buggy mess when this releases, even with the delays.
Is that multiplayer or single player?
That's a good question. I think it is just single player, but maybe it is multiplayer. That would be really cool to have a game like this that's multiplayer.
It'd be cool. I don't know.
Yeah. But definitely pumped for this one. Definitely seems like if our Discord is any indication, people are talking about like, oh, I might finally get an Xbox for this. It's like, well, the buyout of Bethesda worked. This is what they wanted with this going exclusive. So we'll see how that all works. But yeah, overall, I think this is a pretty good presentation. I heard some people were sour on it, but I think it was overall pretty good. A lot of first-person shooter games, which gets a little tiring to see over time. I do think a lot of the stuff looked a little samey, but I think there were standouts in this.
I agree. Yeah, my commentary on commentary is that I think people just expect things to be something for them, and we're seeing way more content appeal to a larger audience. And I think the Xbox Showcase showed that. You know, we have Silksong, and we have Starfield, and we have Persona, and we have we have Grounded. Then we have Minecraft and Minecraft Legends. The showcase appealed to a wide range of gamers across a wide range of ages. And my commentary on people's commentary is maybe these games aren't for you. That's okay.
Yeah. Our game cup overfloweth these days.
I know.
There's a lot to pick from, right? But yeah, I mean, overall, I'm pretty happy with it. I definitely am feeling like, if we don't get a Nintendo Direct this week or this month, even, I think we're really going to feel that, right? As far as like this E3, not E3 that's happening right now. You kind of start to realize like how important it is for Nintendo to have a presence at these things, right?
Yeah.
Because they offer that, like, as much as there was something kind of for maybe most people in this Xbox showcase. I feel like a Nintendo presentation is that times like 5, right?
Yeah, because it is for everyone. Everyone's kind of gets zoomed in on Nintendo.
As long as you like anime games. I'm just kidding.
I do.
Yeah, there you go.
We're
perfect. Good. Well, I think that's probably good. I mean, like, we just wanted to make sure to get something out for you guys this week, and we don't always just focus on Nintendo stuff. We like to talk about the other guys as well, and hopefully next year we do get another real E3 again, right? Because I think that I'm feeling it not being here this year. It's certainly the hype it's not as palpable, right? And so I really hope that stuff kind of gets back to normal a little bit more next year around the summer, so we can have more of these presentations in like one location. Yeah,
I agree.
I think that's gonna do it for the show. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in on this special episode. We promise we're going to be doing real episodes of the show again soon, once we all get back from our vacations. But you know what? Be happy for us that we're having a little bit of difference in our lives, right? I mean, Matt, you were out last week, right? Didn't you go somewhere?
Yeah, I did go somewhere. I went to a concert. I saw Kishibachi.
There you go. Love to hear it. To hear it. We're all doing stuff. Hey, it's summer, God damn it. We're having fun. Well, anyway, that's good. I don't know how to do the sign off. This is Patrick's job. I think, look, we'd like to thank Corduroy for doing our music, and
Milky Way for doing our website.
Milky Way for doing our website. If you like to find me online, I am at Monolith Fiji, pretty much everywhere on the internet.
And I'm Matthew, MATHYOU on Twitter.
Very good. How about you say our socials?
Our socials are, I don't know. I don't even know.
I'll do it.
Yeah, please.
If you'd like to find our show on social media, we are at Switch Headz on Twitter, at Super Switch Headz on Instagram and Facebook. We got a website, switchheadz.com, and we'd love for you to join our Discord or our Facebook group. We'll have a link to both of those in the description of this video. And as a reminder, if you listen to this on audio, thank you so much. But also consider subscribing to us on YouTube, as it gets those viewership numbers up and helps us in the algorithm and gets the word out there about this show. So we appreciate that. That's going to do it for this episode, guys, on E3 in quotations so far. But we'll be back next week with a normal episode of the show. We can go over a lot more of the news that we've missed over the past week. So thanks for sticking with us. Anything you want to say to the good people before we sign off, Matt?
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a very sincere thank you from Matt. Yeah, he's grinning ear to ear right now because he really loves you. All right, folks, that's going to do it. We love you very much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.